Arachne is a single target auto attack assassin. She works well with auto attack focus items like Stone Cutting, Executioner, and Kin Size. Arachne's unique ability is her 3, which when thrown onto an enemy spawns little spiders that chase them around and give Arachne slow immunity the whole time she chases them down. Arachne is very good at chasing people down, especially combined with a blink, lockdown with her 2 and her 3, and then ult to continue chasing her to escape. Her 3 can be stacked on a camp at the beginning of the game to clear a camp without even needing to be there. Arachne's 3 can finish clearing camps as well, without you needing to be even in range of it. This same concept applies later on in the game when you want to pull a Gold Fury or a Fire Giant. You need to stack up your spiderwebs so you have lots of them hitting the objective with you and your team. Be careful of disarms and block stacks as this character, and items like Witchblade and Horrific. Max the 1, then the 3, then the 2, then the ult last, meaning you need to put a point into it at 5, but don't put extra points into it until level 16 when you have to. Aries is a damage-oriented guardian whose passive and chain damage allows him to solo kill squishies on his own. His best items are basically any aura item to synergize with his passive, giving him 30 power per aura item, and items that simply make him tankier and harder to lock down and kill since he has no movement abilities. Items like Sovereignty, Gauntlet of Thebes, Voidstone, Wingblade, etc. have always been very nice for him. Blink is a must on him so that you can initiate, since you have no instant movement ability. Blink ulting whenever it is up is recommended to get carries beads or their CC immune ults. Try to keep timers on these things so that you know when you can actually pull them with your ultimate. When someone beads, simply look at the game timer at the top of the screen, add 3 minutes to it, and subtract 20 seconds. That's when their beads will be back up. Aries chains are what make this character good. Securing all 3 chains on someone will do insane damage and keep them slowed and crippled for a very long time. You have about 2 seconds to refire this ability if you hit an enemy god, and the best way to get the time down is to auto attack between each chain. Remember that the 2 provides lots of tankiness in HP 5, and it's even better if you use it right after chaining someone. Use your flames to clear waves in camps and for knock-up immunity. Max the 1, then the 2, then the 3, and then max the ult last. 1 point at 5, finish the rest at 16. Artemis is a high-risk, high-reward hunter with great DPS and burst. She works well with either a crit build or a tank shredding auto-attack build. Use your traps, to block off corridors and lanes to protect against ganks. You can also use your 1 to combo off of teammate CC to keep someone locked down even more, since this ability roots and cripples enemy gods for a decent duration. You can even combo your 1 off of your own ultimate, which spawns a boar and quickly dashes towards gods and stuns them. Simply place your trap under them right after they get stunned. Artemis 2 gives a huge attack speed steroid, so it isn't always necessary to build a ton of attack speed in your build. Keep in mind that Artemis' passive has lots of synergy with her kit. The slow on your 3, the stun on the ult, and the root on the 1 will all proc Artemis' passive, which gives her extra basic attack damage when enemies are crowd controlled. This also works off of your teammate's CC, so keep that in mind. Stack up the wave with your autos, then 3 the whole wave to increase your clear speed. Use your ultimate to lock down frontline right in front of you, or to peel for yourself since it gives you CC immunity. You can also use your 2 to disengage since it gives you 20% movement speed. Be careful of characters with long duration CC immunities diving you like Raven, Vamana, Cthulhu. Max your 3, then your 2, and then your 1, and put points into your ult whenever possible. Ardeo is a stance switching guardian with a very in-your-face playstyle. She's a button smasher for the most part, but has some skill cap. Tank items with some CDR thrown in is usually the best build route to go. Stone of Binding has been her go-to for quite some time since she procs it so often in her kit. Ardeo has no ult, but instead has the ability to chain stances, giving her 3 extra abilities. Your Bear Stance 1 is great for clearing around the map and bursting people down, while the Druid Stance 1 is great for healing yourself and your allies, if you hit enemy gods of course. Chase people down with your Druid Stance 3, which slows them and will root if all of the ticks connect. Blink is also amazing on Ardeo, allowing you to initiate instantly with a Blink Bear 2, which will stun them, and then you can switch back to Druid and 2 them, which will cripple them for 6 seconds. She has tons of chase down potential with all of her CC and her dash from her Bear 3, so don't let anyone ever get away from you. Spam your abilities in the teamfight to synergize with your passive, since enemies hit by Ardeo's abilities also lose protections. Ardeo has no CC immunities throughout her kit though, so be very careful of CC heavy comps. Max your 1, then your 3, then your 2, and put points into your ult last. Athena is a versatile guardian who has a global ultimate to impact different sides of the map instantly. She can be built in many different ways because she is viable in multiple roles, but usually tank items like Sovereignty, Gauntlet of Thebes, Stone of Binding, Wingblade will be very good for her, as well as CDR focus items like Genji's or even Pridwin. Her early game combo is to either walk up to someone or dash them with your 1, 3 them to ensure the initial burst damage off your 3, then 2 or taunt them back into the 3 to ensure the second burst damage. Later on in the game though, you want to abandon this combo and simply taunt them and then 3 so that you can set up for your damage dealers. Athena's taunt is one of the best CCs in the game and allows you to walk your enemies into your teammates' abilities basically. Athena's 1 provides block stacks which will absorb auto attacks, so make sure you're dashing through minions throughout the game to engage fights with these stacks. Always be looking at the map as Athena, and I mean always, so that you can utilize your ultimate on cooldown, teleporting you across the map to teammates to give them mitigations and crazy burst damage upon landing. Be careful of getting your dash charge up interrupted though, since it takes a while to cast and can put you into some bad situations. On Athena specifically, it is possible to put 3 points into your 3 and then max your 2 so that you can still have some decent clear while increasing your taunt duration. But regardless, max the 3 after that, then the 1, and put points into the ult last. Awilix is a highly mobile, anti-mobile assassin, if that makes sense. Awilix can work with both ability-based damage builds or auto-attack focused ones. Items like Jotuns, Hydras, Stone Cutting, and Blink are amazing on her. Awilix's 1, Suku, allows you to travel around the map very quickly and can be cancelled to keep it from going on cooldown and allow you to use the rest of your kit. This can be used as escape over walls since you can jump with it, but rarely should you use the jump to chase someone down. You should simply ride Suko to get to them and right click to cancel it so you can keep it up. Your 2 is insane burst damage and great for clearing camps around the map, but you first need to auto attack something to be able to use it, and you mostly want to use this right after the second auto attack in your hit chain to gain the extra damage and AoE version of it. This ability can be used in so many ways, but it's great for rooting and crippling your opponents in place to CC chain them, and it's also great for dodging abilities because while you're flipping over them, you're untargetable. Awilix's 3 only knocks up opponents from behind or on the side, so it's best to try to get behind the enemy gods either by positioning, using blink, or standing over walls. Awilix's ult allows her to pull any non-CC immune leap or jump out of the air, or any knocked up enemy god out of the air. You can use your own 3 to set up your ult, but you can also use your friendly Sobex 2, your friendly Heims 2, your friendly Baccus flop. Any friendly knockup is going to get the job done. Or you can use the enemy's jumps and leaps against themselves. Don't be afraid to also use your ult as a steroid since it provides pretty insane attack speed, power, and immunities, especially around objectives. Be careful of cripples and CC heavy comps as Awilix, as they completely shut down both your 1 and 2, and you have no hard CC immunity in your kit. Max your 2, then your 3, and then your 1, but put points into your ult whenever you can. Baba Yaga is a high burst mage with a very unique passive. Stacking items are core on Baba Yaga because her passive allows her to stack them so quickly. Items like Book of Thoth, Karen's Coin, and Soul Reaver are likely where to start. Both Baba Yaga's 1 and 2 have some RNG to them, since the effects of the abilities randomly change after each cast. You basically want to go with the flow of the RNG of these abilities, but the most important thing to keep in mind with Baba's 1 is that if it is purple, it is a silence, and you can use it very effectively as a CC chain or to peel for yourself. Keep in mind that you can store one of your 2s, your potions, in your consumable slot, so try not to have health pots or wards taking up that space, as this will allow you to quickly cast 2 potions in a fight or when you're clearing camps. Your 3 is great for damage, but it's mostly used as an escape, and it can even be used over walls. Watch out for Ansile though, since this will actually cancel your 3 and put it on cooldown. Position far away from the enemy frontline because allowing them to initiate on you early on is very bad for Baba Yaga. Her ult is a long-range artillery ability, but is often used to peel enemies off of Baba since it knocks them up when near her and gives her a pretty big shield. Try to hit the enemy backline or squish these with this ability since it does massive damage and can be thrown very, very far. It's better to use your ult early on in the fight because if you try to save it till later on to keep yourself alive, it'll likely be too late for Baba. Max your 1, then your 2, then your 3, and put points into your ult whenever possible. Baccus is a very high CC burst guardian who also has a very in-your-face playstyle. Pure tank items work very well on him, as well as something to help with damage in MP5. He is very mana hungry, like Stone of Binding. Sovereignty, Gauntlet of Thebes, Pridwin are also very nice. Baccus' abilities all get better the more drunk he is, meaning the more you have your passive meter up based on using your 1, the better. Drinking provides 40% to the meter, and you lose about 1% per second. Drink to full right when the game starts in your fountain to make sure you don't waste your mana. Keep your drinks up throughout the game by looking at your meter and refilling it when it's starting to drop, or simply drink right before a fight since it gives protections as well. Baccus is one of the few guardians who doesn't need blink to start a fight, since your 2 leap and knockup is a great initiation. It's best to actually use your 3 into knockup, especially early game, since the stun you get from your 3 will set up your knockup, and the CC chain won't be DR'd, meaning you'll get the full value from both CCs. It's also good to start fights with your ult, since it makes your opponents drunk for 6 seconds, which is insane, but also since it provides a magical power buff for your other abilities you're about to use. Try to hit multiple squishies with your ult in teamfights since it's so big and does so much damage. Use your 3 to immune knockups and knockbacks like Geb 2 or On Her 2. Watch out for cripples though, and CC as Baccus since you rely so much on your 2 in your kit, and you have no way to prevent stuns or taunts from actually hitting you. Be careful of Ansiles interrupting your 3 as well. Max your 3 unless they have a lot of interrupts for it, then your 2, then your 1, and put points in the ult whenever possible. If they do have a lot of interrupts for your 3, max your 2 and then max your 3, and the rest is the same. Bakusura is a hyper-farming auto-attack focused assassin. He's best utilized in the jungle, running around clearing camps and eating them with his 2 and ganking lanes when his ultimate is up. His builds are almost always pure auto-attack and attack speed, since the more attack speed he has, the more procs of his 3 true damage he can provide. Hasted Katana, Stone Cutting, XC, Kin Size, Toxic Blade, the list goes on. Make sure you're stacking up your ultimate minions early game by eating camps and minions because they are quite impactful, doing lots of damage and can even tank structures for you and your teammates throughout the game. Your 2 is great secure on buff camps since it executes the buff minion from 33% health. Make sure to eat a minion right before a fight or during it since it provides a heal and gives you protections. You can even eat your own minions that you spawn with your ultimate. Try to keep your passive stacked as much as possible, meaning all you have to do is kill 3 minions and every 10 seconds, make sure you've killed another one to keep it going. This passive movement speed and attack speed is the cornerstone of Bakusura's kit. Your ultimate also gives you CC immunity, so try to time it in teamfights to ignore peel CC or big time ultimates like an Aries ult or a Daji ult. Your ult also makes your autos AoE for 5 seconds, so make sure you have your 3 and passive ready to go during that time frame. Remember that Baka 1 provides a mini sundering effect to the enemies, meaning if you connect the jump, you're doing extra damage to them, although most of the time you want to initiate with Blink and use your jump to get away. Baka gets countered by anti-auto attack items and characters like Witchblade, Ichaival, Horrific, Shell, Bellona, Jingten, etc. Max the 3, then the 2, and then the 1, and put points into your ult whenever you can. Baron Samedi is a high utility mage with some decent burst. He's traditionally played more as a frontline mage, so tank or bruiser items usually fit him best, especially combined with CDR. He can, however, work with a bursty build in the mid lane with items like Spear of Desolation, Soul Gem, Soul Reaver, etc. Baron gives himself and his teammates the ability to purchase a unique consumable item called Baron's Brew, which is a refillable potion that provides health and mana at the same time, like a multi-pot. 3 uses and you can return to base to refill it. The easiest combo on Baron is to hit your 3, securing your root, auto attack, then 2, auto attack, and then 1 for lots of burst damage and giving yourself and your nearby allies a heal. Baron's passive allows his abilities to have extra effects if he has stacked enough Hysteria on them, but it's not something that you need to actively think about throughout the game. Basically, all it means is that consistently hitting the enemy gods with abilities is good for him. Baron's movement speed scales while in his ult, so items like Sprint and Shield of Regrowth synergize very well with this ability. The best way to use Baron ult is to suck people in until the last second to keep them in the CC chain, and to make sure you hit your stun on them and have massive burst damage. Many times, an undesirable character will try to block your ult, such as a tank walking into it to consume it. Make sure you try to turn your camera when using Baron ult to make sure you aren't bringing in the characters you don't want to, such as like a full tank Jingten or a full tank Vamana who's in his ultimate, so that you can actually suck off the characters that you want to suck off. Watch out for anti-heal characters and items and any long duration CC immunities that will cancel your ultimate. Max your 2, then your 1, and then your 3, and put points into the ult whenever you can.